19. I asked for a doctor during labor. The bishop asked me to confess instead. The clock on the dresser said 2:17 in the morning. Wick of the kerosene lamp needed trimming, and I could smell the oil burning low. My knees were on the wedding quilt, folded double beside the iron bed. The white enamel basin sat between them, with the chipped blue rim catching the small light. My water had already broken into it. My back was tight, my breath was sideways. Then I heard boots on the stairs. Not one set, 3. What I am about to tell you, I have not said out loud in 51 winters. I did not know yet that the door would open to the wrong people. My name is Mary, and I was born and raised in a small old-order settlement outside Millersburg, Ohio. On this channel, I tell the quiet stories we were taught to fold up small. If you have ever been told your fear was pride dressed up in a prayer cap, stay close, and subscribe so I can find you again. In the comments, tell me only the town where you are listening from tonight. The pain came in long pulls, like a rope being drawn through my middle. I gripped the iron rail of the bed with one hand and the rim of the basin with the other. Eli, my husband, was kneeling behind me. His palm was flat against the small of my back. He did not speak. He never did when he was frightened. The lamp threw our shadows long across the pine floor, and I remember thinking the wick would smoke the ceiling if no one trimmed it soon. Sarah Ann, our midwife, had been sent for almost an hour before, only Sarah Ann. One woman, one buggy, one lane. So why were there 3 sets of boots on the stairs? I counted them the way I had been counting the seconds between pains on the second hand of the wind-up clock, 23 seconds, then 19, then 16. My body was telling me what my mouth was not allowed to say. This baby, my third, had been turned wrong since the 8th month. I had felt the head sit high under my ribs when it should have been low. I had said nothing to Eli. I had said nothing to Sarah Ann. In the home I came from, a woman did not name a fear before it ripened, because naming was a kind of pride. In our settlement, a doctor was not forbidden. I want to be careful when I say that, because plain communities are not all the same, and I will not speak for any house but the one I lived in. In our district, the order of asking was what mattered. Midwife first, then the husband's judgment, then the deacon if the midwife asked for him. A doctor came at the end of that line, not the start. Order was older than any of us, and we kept it the way we kept the ordnung, softly, without argument, because argument itself was already a small kind of pride. The boots reached the top of the stairs and stopped outside the bedroom door. I heard a man clear his throat. It was not Sarah Ann's throat, it was not Eli's brother. It was a sound I had heard 100 Sunday mornings at the front of the bench, and my stomach knew the sound before my mind did. Basin between my knees suddenly felt cold. Eli's hand left my back. I heard him stand. I heard him step around the bed. I heard the door open on its old iron hinge. 3 men, not one woman. Bishop Yoder stood at the foot of the bed with his hat still on his head, and that was the part I could not understand. A man does not keep his hat on in a birthing room. A man does not stand at the foot of a woman's bed at all. The basin was lifted off the floor by someone, I do not remember who, set on the dresser beside the lamp untouched. Waiting, Eli's face went the color of skim milk. He would not look at me. I said one sentence out loud then. I will tell you what it was, but not yet. I want you to know first why I said it. Bishop Yoder's mouth tightened the way a drawstring tightens on a flour sack. He did not answer me. He looked at Eli instead, and Eli looked at the floorboards, and the lamp wick guttered low. My eyes went to the chipped blue rim of the basin on the dresser, because I could not look at the bishop's boots on my bedroom floor. I had a cousin once. Her name was Verna. She lived in Walnut Creek, in Holmes County, and she was 33 the spring she died in a back bedroom not unlike mine. Her baby was breech. The buggy was hitched too late. There is a small grave under a sycamore tree behind her husband's barn, and the stone is plain, the way our stones are plain. Community remembered Verna as God's will. I remembered her every time I felt this baby sit wrong under my ribs. I had carried her name in my mouth for 40-some winters without ever placing it next to the bishop's. That was the sentence I had just said out loud, or part of it. From down the lane came a sound I had been praying for. A buggy bell. Sarah Ann. Finally, the clop of one tired horse on packed dirt. The bell came closer, and I felt my shoulders drop for the first time since the boots had reached the top of the stairs. Bishop Yoder heard it too. He raised his hand, palm out toward the open window. Wait. He did not say the word. He did not need to. The bell stopped at the end of the lane. Pain roses in me again, longer this time, and I held the chipped rim of the basin with both hands. The lamp flickered. Eli would not lift his eyes, and the bishop had not yet told me what he wanted me to take back. The buggy bell did not ring again. I could hear Sarah Ann's voice through the open window, low and questioning, and then a man's voice answering her in the yard. I did not know whose. Pain crested, and I bit the inside of my cheek until I tasted copper. Bishop Yoder lowered his hand slowly, the way a man lowers a lantern he does not want to drop. He took one step closer to the foot of the bed. His boots were clean. I remember that. He had wiped them on the porch mat before he came up, which meant he had known, before he climbed the stairs, that he was coming into a birthing room. He spoke first. His voice was low, and it was not unkind. That is the part that has stayed with me longest. He did not shout. He did not point. He said my name once, the way my own father used to say it when I was a small girl who had spilled the cream, Mary. Then he said he had heard from Eli what I had spoken out loud a few minutes before. He said the words I had used were not words a wife in our district should carry into a labor bed. He asked me gently to take them back out loud before Sarah Ann was allowed up the stairs. I looked into the basin on the dresser. Water in it was pink now, and the chipped blue rim caught the lamp the way a wedding ring catches the sun. I said my own sentence again, almost to myself, so I could hear it in my own mouth before I gave it away. I think this baby and I will die if a doctor does not come. That was all. 11 words, no screaming, no defiance. A woman saying she was afraid. Bishop Yoder closed his eyes for a long second, the way a man closes his eyes during silent prayer, and then he opened them and named what I had said. He called it hochmut, pride. He said I had placed my own knowing above the order of the church. He gave me the words then, slow, one small clause at a time, so I could say them back between contractions. I will not write the whole prayer here, because it does not belong to anyone but that room. Short of it was this. I confessed that my fear had been pride. I confessed that I had set my own body above the order God had given our people. I asked the Lord and the church to forgive the sentence I had spoken. I said the words. Eli, behind me, said amen into the floorboards. Bishop Yoder nodded once. He stepped to the window, raised his hand a second time, and called down to the yard that Sarah Ann could come up. He sent one of the other men for the doctor in town. The doctor came slowly, but he came. The baby was a girl. She lived. I lived. Sarah Ann washed the basin out in the morning and set it back under the bed where it had always lived. The wedding quilt was folded and aired on the line by noon. The lamp wick was trimmed before supper. From the outside of our house, looking in through the kitchen window that afternoon, you would have seen a plain family with a new daughter and a tired mother and a husband, splitting kindling at the woodpile. Nothing was lost that the community could see. Nothing at all. That is the part I want you to sit with for a moment. The tragedy of that night was invisible. I had apologized for being afraid of dying. Both of these things are true, and I have spent 51 winters holding them in the same two hands. Bishop Yoder was not a cruel man. He believed, in the marrow of him, that he was protecting my soul from a sin that had killed proud women before me. The order he kept was older than him, and it was not invented to harm wives. It was built in a century when pride did kill people, and humble obedience did save them, and the same order asked a laboring woman to repent of her own body's warning before help could be sent for. Both things sit on the dresser together, the basin and the lamp, and I do not know how to lift one without lifting the other. I will tell you the harder part. I taught my own daughters the same order. For years, I folded it into them the way I folded their prayer caps, until the youngest one, Hannah, sat across from me at the kitchen table one autumn evening and asked me, plain as bread, "Mem, would you say those words again today?" And I could not answer her. I could not. I have a cousin whose name was Verna, and she is buried under a sycamore tree behind a barn in Walnut Creek. And tonight, here in this kitchen, is the first time I have ever placed her name and Bishop Yoder's name in the same breath. Silence between them was 47 years long. If you have ever apologized for being afraid of dying, for being afraid for a child, a body, a marriage, leave one word below, just one. I will read everyone tonight before the lamp goes out. So I will say this to you now, and only now, because I have not earned the right to say it any earlier. Fear is not pride. A woman's knowing of her own body is not Hochmut. Sentence you were once asked to take back, in a kitchen or a bedroom or a pew or a hospital hallway, may have been the truest sentence you ever spoke in that house. You do not owe the taking back. You do not. White enamel basin with the chipped blue rim is on my kitchen table tonight, beside the wind-up clock that still says 2:17 when I let it run down. The water in it is clean now. The lamp is trimmed. I confessed the only prayer I ever meant, and I have spent 51 years taking it back one quiet evening at a time.